Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Make Them Tech. We have a wonderful video for you guys titled Build Your First React with Redux App. Build your first React with Redux application. Today we are going to be talking about Redux. It's an external state management library, and there are key things that you need to know about Redux. There are 4 pillars of Redux. That is according to me. We have action, types, reducer, then store. So in Redux, an action is an object. We have type and payload properties inside that object. So you have to note this in your mind that when you talk about Redux and you talk about action, you're actually talking about objects, because those objects are going to be used to make some things happen in your Redux. Now, talking about types, they are more like a kind of constant. You know, when we get into coding, you will get to understand this very well. Now, before I even get to reducer, let me talk about action creator. So any function or functions that return an action, meaning that returns the objects, they are referred to as what? Action creators. So you can see an example before you there. Then we have reducer. You know, there are also functions that helps to manipulate the state with an action. Now, what's this action? The type and the payload that is coming. Then we have a single state, that is the store, where all our data are being kept. So we have this create store function that uses reducer to manipulate the store. So these are the components, or these are the key things that you need to know about Redux. So Redux is not hard, it's a very straightforward library, external state management library, but sometimes it can be complex, or it can be somehow, especially when you are using a material that is not well explicit enough to break it down the way we have just done now. So we are now going to get started. We are going to start coding now, and there we'll implement all these things. So now, the first thing we are going to do, let me open my package.json file. We have React. Okay, this is, hey, for you guys that have been following my YouTube channel, you will remember that we set up a React using a Webpack and a Babel from scratch. So you can watch that video also. This one, I'm just going to call it react-redux app. So now this is all that you need to set up a React application. If you are not familiar with React, you can watch, I have a couple of videos on this channel that address React. So we have React and React DOM. I'm now going to add Redux and React Redux to the list. We have other middlewares too, but we are not going to capture that in this video tutorial. So let me do npm, and that is Redux, then React Redux. So we are installing now. So now we want to create some folders. Let me show you this is our index.js, and then this is the app.js. So I'm going to create some folders now. The first one is components. So then I'm going to create another one also, called actions. So then I'm also going to create another one called reducers. Okay, let me say types. Types. Then we create the last one, which is the reducer folder. Yeah. So I'm going to create a small application, like a kind of article post. An application that affords you the opportunity to post an article. So we will, instead of communicating with the backend or trying to use a local state to manage it, we'll use Redux to manage it. So let's concentrate and then watch how things unfold as we engage Redux and the like. So this time around, I'm going to create a component called article. So this is going to be the parent component. Then let me create the children. We have article form .gsx. Then another one called article post.gsx. So now let's get started. Let me just write some simple application that is for forms. So you just have import react. So I'm going to be using hooks state. So from react. So this time around we have const article form. So let me just go directly to the return. Let's return the form. So we have a div, right? Or do we even need that? Okay, yes. So let's say h2. That is post article. Post article. So then we have form. So under form we have the input. So we have just got type. So we have the text. Okay, so then lastly we have the button, that is submit. So we have just finished writing this code. Let me export the components. Export default, that is article form. Okay, so now let's just try to manage the state. So let me just use that is const. So we have const. So we have const title. Yeah, that is set title. You can set it at once too, without breaking it into two, like I'm doing now. So the initial state is going to be like this, and then we have the content, and we have the set content. So we have the use state. So that's cool. Now let's the handlers now. So the handlers undo title. So I'm just trying to break it down so that we can follow through with this tutorial. So we have the set title, and then we have our normal e.target.value. And also, let me copy. Okay, let me just do this. So this will be undo content, undo content. So we have so that's going to be set content. Yeah. So So when we're also going to have submit, isn't it? So we're going to have submit. So let me quickly undo that. Undo submit. Undo submit. Undo submit. When you are submitting the form, you are going to have a kind of refresh action. So we want to prevent that from happening. Prevent defaults. Okay. So then let's say our data now. So our data will now be title. So it should be title. That is the state. And then we have the content. So, and that will be the content from the state. Now we are good to go. So let's stop there. We can also always do our normal console.log data. This to see that the data is being logged to the console. So I don't think there's anything missing. Okay, yes, we have to adjust our input component here. So we want to put a value to be equal to our title, and then we proceed to put the change event on change to be that is undo title. Okay, so I think this is cool. And then we come here also to put our value to be content, and then the on change to be undo content. Undo content. So I think that is that. We might also run into a kind of issue of width and height. So I'll just add a kind of width and height to it. So let me just do a styling directly here. That is width. Let's make it 170 px. Okay, then the height will be, okay, let's put it at 50. I think that should be that for now. So we want to proceed to engage the second one, which is article post. So I will just copy some things from here so that we can save time. Copy post. Yeah. So then normal const article post. So we have so let's just return. We are not going to be doing any state management at this point here. So we what should we do here? Okay, let's just return a kind of normal thing, what we expect to return. So that would be H2. Let's just call this one title. And then let's go to the next one. And that will be, let's just call it content directly here. So let's export it also. Export, default, and that is article posts. Yeah, so we can aggregate the two inside our parent components. And let's just, okay, so we're not using, okay, so let me come back here and remove this use state here. We're not using that here. Okay, so yeah, I'm done. So I can easily bring in so I can easily copy, let me just go copy what is here. Yeah, even with this guy. So I just change this to article. So we have article, then we have article here too. So instead of returning this, we will be returning what we import. So let me just do the normal import from here. Import. So import article post, article form. That is article form from React. Okay. Post. So we are going to be having article form. So article post. So I think this is fine. And that's it for here, from here. So let's import our, so let me save it now. Okay, overwrite, yeah. So let's go to our app.js and then let's import it. Import article from okay, so this is going to be components. So that's article. Okay, so we come here to return and then that's it. So that's article. Fine. So basically we finished, just completed the whole React part. And then as we move in the Redux part, we'll be making adjustments on our React side. So let me start the code now. Let me just npm run dev. So let's see what we have. So local is 8080. So this is what we have. So we can see how cool it is. So now let me just put in some little adjustments to the style. Let me just do that div somehow. Let's just go to the article form. Okay, so what we have here, that's it. Let me just use normal style and border. That is 1px solid. Let's do this. Let's do padding. So I think that's fine for me. Okay. Oh, that's a problem. Okay. I was just looking at it, that what could be going on. Okay, so this is what we have. So we can type like this. Let me open our console. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so I can type like this, and when I click my submit, oh, it's still rolling. Oh, we've not actually engaged it here on submit. Yeah, so it should be on submit. Okay, so we have undo submit. So that's it. So if I type something here, I should get the, okay. So you can see the result. So now let's move to Redux now. So what we want to do now is we want to show by when you click submit, we'll carry this data and send it through an action to the reducer. Then the reducer will now complete the job with the store. Now let's go to our type. So when you want to start something like this, to make things very easy for yourself, you can always start with type so that you can always at least monitor how you progress in the work. So I want to create a file now called article.js under my types. So what am I going to put here? So you can just do a normal export const types. So we do post underscore article. So that's all. So you can also export directly like a variable. You know, what I'm doing here is that the reason why I'm going through this route is if you want to store if you want to perform multiple actions, like this is post, we still have edit, we have delete. So you can always come here and add it to this object. So I'm exporting this as an object, but you can also do it one after the other by just doing export const post article is equal to post article, just not like a kind of variable directly. So, but this one will help you to aggregate all your types in an object format. I want to move to reducer now. So I want you to just continue watching the way I'm moving. That is article.js. Oh, there's nothing like SG. Rename JS. Okay. So now in your reducer, like I said, is a function that helps you to manage your state and the action. Now I want to import the types that I've already written. That is from, now that's going to be that's types, that's article, that's it. So I need to declare an initial state, and that's the article. Okay, so then I need to create a reducer function. Reducer is equal to state. So let me use the normal default parameter argument. So that is action, and then I'm going to use a switch statement to switch the conditions. Now the action now dot type now. So as the type changes, so will the action change too. So I'm going to do case types dot post article. So when it satisfies this condition, what are you going to do? Then you do this. So you return, as the articles are being posted, we want to be storing them inside this array. If you look at this code very well, you see that the article has an array assigned to it inside an object. That is the initial state. So all our articles will be stored inside this array. So, and Redux supports pure function mechanism. So it doesn't allow you to mutate state or to do anything that is impure. So we are still going to follow the rule, and that is why I'm going to be spreading the state. You remember we have already assigned initial state to state here in this code. So I'm doing that here. And then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to do articles. Articles. What am I using here? Okay, let me just say articles. Yes, I think it's best we use articles. Yes. So that all our articles will be stored inside that array. Now I can use object.assign, I can use concat. When you are, I mean to say you can use concat at this point if you are storing inside an array, or you use the spread directly inside that array. If it is an object you are talking to, then you can use your object assign, or you still spread. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to use the spread method. So dot state dot articles, then the action dot payload. Okay, so we can see that, so that we can also check whether our action carries a payload. So we're going to, so I want you to, so we want to check for that also. Let's just do console.log to check for that. Then normally in a switch statement, you always have a kind of what do we call it, default response. So in case none of the condition matches the cases that are stipulated, so you can always return the default state, the state that we have already. That is that. Then let's export our export default reducer, and that's it. Let's go to action. This part is done. So there's no big deal here, and I don't think there's any mistake here. So that's just basically it. So what we are doing here is that we are spreading the content of article, and then also we are bringing in our action.payload. Don't forget, an action carries type, and also what? Payload. So when it is type, so when we say types dot, so remember we say action dot type. That is, if it's just like saying if action dot type is equal to this, just like if you are using your if statement, then you have this, and then you do this action. So you can also use if statements here, all true, but switch statement makes your code cleaner. So that's what is happening here. Now let me go to action. Yes, action. So let's create a file called article.js. So here we are going to be creating a function. We talked about action creator at the beginning of this tutorial, when I was talking about action and then the action creators. So what we are going to do first is to import the types. Yes, we've already written the types is just like a kind of indicator, what leads you. It's just like a kind of guide. It's just like a kind of map that shows us, okay, this is the task I want to perform. So from that's types, that's article. So we just get started by just saying export, then post article. So you should also be deliberate about the choice of your variable name and your function name, whatever you are using. So then I'm going to return an object. Like I said, an action is an object in Redux. So we have the type like this. Remember we talked about type. Yes. So that is, if you go back to our reducer, let me go to the reducer now. You see, we're checking for type. So we've already said it here now. Can you see now? Then we are using types here. Don't forget, these types is coming from what we did here in the, where's the types? Can you see, we use types here. So this types is what? It's an object. And inside it is we have post article. So this is a property, and this is the value of this property. So this is the key, and this is the value. So I believe that explains it better. So the same thing we are doing here, and here too we are still going to bring in that types. So we say types dot post article. So we have shown the way now. We have given it direction. This is the action that we want to perform, and then we go to the payload. Then the payload. Now this time around, you see we have an argument here, or yes, we have a parameter here called data. So we are going to be passing it here. So this post article is a function that we're going to be calling in our Redux, in our React application rather. So I think that is fine for now about this. So let's go to back to our application now. Let's go to our parent component now. So this is where we are going to be doing the integration together. Okay, sorry, before we get into that, let's go to, have we created anything like store? Oh, we've not created store. So let's quickly do that now. So let's do that now, create store. So that is a store.js. So I believe, let me see. Yeah, so there's the store is, there it is. So we're going to import, what are we going to import? Create store from where? From Redux. Yeah. So also we're going to import reducer from, don't forget we have our reducer here inside our reducers folder. Yeah. And then the article. Yeah. So, and from there we will now do our normal const store is equal to create store, that is reducer. If you have a middleware, you can add it to it, but we are not going to capture the aspect of middleware in this tutorial. So, but expect more tutorials on this topic, that is this anything that has to do with Redux. So that you guys will get to understand it better as time goes on. So this is how you set up your store. The next thing we will do now is to go to article, the parent component, where we'll be mapping everything together. So we are through with the Redux part now. We now want to bring the Redux and the React together. So let's go to our article.js. We are there now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be importing something from, what's it called? Connect, yes. I'm going to import connect function from Redux, React Redux. Yeah, so React Redux. Yeah. So then, okay. And then also we are going to import that function we want to use. You get, that is the post article from the action that we create. So this is an action creator. This post article is an action creator because it returns what? An action. So what would be action? Yes, actions. Yes. So article. Oh, article. Yeah. So now what we're going to do is we're going to first of all do what we call, we are going to be dealing with two things here. Notice the parent component. So what we want to do is that this post here, article posts.gsx needs our state, that is the Redux store, the state there. Then this form needs this function or this action creator called post article. So now we just want to use our parent component to get this data, and then we pass it to what? To our child components that we have here. And also there is another, I think it's also possible that you can also directly map each of these subcomponent, the child component, to the source of data directly. But I want to use this route by connecting the parent to the source of data, and then we spread. Now so what we're going to do is we're going to do map state to props. Map state to props, that is state. So we are going to return an object. So here now, see at this point, this state here, because of this function we have declared, this function, this connect method here, the function here is going to connect this to the store. So meaning the store, all that is inside the store will be what? Will be available in this state. So we can even spread it here, but why do you need some things that you don't even need here? So we just need to be specific. So we are specific here now by saying articles. Articles. So we only need the state article. Though actually in our store we only have one thing, but I just want us to understand that here, so that as your store keeps growing, you can actually have the understanding of how to control it. So map dispatch. So the other one we want to do is the one for dispatch. So dispatch props. So there are some things I want you to understand about the store. The store has 3 servants. Should I use the word servant, or 3 workers? It has something called dispatch. It has another one called get state, and it has the last one called, I think, subscribe. So these workers have been made available to us to help us to manage the store very well. So what we are doing here is I want the dispatch function that will help us to be able to dispatch our actions. So that's what we want to do. Sorry, our action creator rather. So what I'm going to do is map dispatch to props. Yes, let me go to props. So these are just conventions you just need to follow. It's not that you need to, so but we just want to follow so that anybody that wants to maintain your code will see that, okay, so it's better you write it as map dispatch to props. So we just follow the normal convention, that is dispatch. So let's move very fast now. Then let's return this guy, that is post article. So now we want to create a function. So we are creating a function now. So we now bring in our dispatch function, the dispatch method. Then we now put this guy inside it, post article. Then the data we've already passed there, where we are talking about the data. So we pass it directly here. So without wasting much of our time, we can connect now. So this is how you connect the whole thing. So the parent component needs to be, so you connect like this, and then you put in the connect method, then you bring in your map state to props. That's the first argument. Don't make this mistake. Then the second argument is map dispatch to props. So we have been able to connect it together now. But now we have to pass the props that we have from the props that are coming from Redux. We have to pass it to this parent component, and the parent component too will now make it available to this guy. So how do we do that? Normally this is the props, so it's here already. Then we can pass through, but instead of just wasting our time doing this, we can destructure directly. So let's just destructure, like saying articles, yes, and then we have the post article. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to avoid, we can just put props here and then we'll be doing props.articles, props.post-articles. So but instead of doing that, I just want to destructure and then move on. So for this one, we only need post article for this guy. Meaning, so we have post article. And then for this guy, we only need the articles. Wow. Articles. And that is this articles. Yeah. So now we've done that. Let's go back to the children now. For the form, we have to use that function, or sorry, that prop that we just passed. How do we do that? At the point of submitting this form, we have to send the data to the doc. So we have to do our normal post data. So, okay, yeah. So, this, I'm coming, yes, sorry. Yes, we have to also destructure it at this point. It has props too, so we just do our normal destruction. So instead of me doing props dots, so I can just do our normal article, post article, post article. So let me leave it space like this. Okay, so we come here to do post article, then we pass in our data. So that's it. I want to believe we don't have any mistake here. Then this other one too, we replicate same, and that is articles, if I'm correct, articles. Yeah. So now, just like you do in your React application, you normally map. So we have to put in our articles dot map. So let's put in our data, then comma index. So that will be what am I doing here? What am I doing here? Okay, yeah. So then we have this. So we have to put our, that is div. So we have to put the key, and that will be index. And then we put in our h2, and that will be data.title, and then the other one is the paragraph tag. We're going to put data.content. So I think this does that. Anything that we are missing? So yes, we have to go back to our parent component. No, sorry, we have to go to the index.js. So because we have to do some things at the root level to make the store available, more like your context. So we are going to wrap this guy with, so yes, sorry, we're going to be importing some things. We are going to import a provider. That's import provider as a component from provider from react-redux from. So you just have to master this. There are a whole lot of things that has been exposed to you from Redux and also from react-redux. So as you at least when the need arises, you just get on board and then you import. So then we need to bring in the store to import store from store. Our store is just close by. Yeah, it's not inside any folder. So we want to wrap it now. Yeah, so it's going to be provider. So then you have to copy this guy and dump it inside this provider. So then we also have to put in the store. Yeah, we pass it as more like you are passing it as an attribute. Yeah. So then makes it available for this, should we call it the ancestor parent, the overall parent. So we are good to go, and we can test our application now. So what we have now, let's test it. So if I do something like this and then let you post, oh, something is wrong somewhere. So you say nothing changed. So that means it's actually getting here. So it's actually getting here. That is article.js. That is 32. So I think there is a problem somewhere. So where's the problem? Let's try to check out the problem. Oh, the problem is coming here. We're actually not returning anything here. So that's where the problem is. So I have to take all of this out. Then we have return. So in the console, in the log, I don't know if you guys saw that. Okay, yes. So now let's try it again. So let me clear what is on this. Okay. So let me just type some things like this, and then let me put some things like this, and then let's post. Yeah, so that's it. And then, okay, this was what I was talking about. So this is, you can see the part here. This is coming from the reducer. So these are normal, the one we're doing inside the one we are doing inside the article form itself. So okay, so if I want to post another thing, so I can still do whatever, can do React, Redux app, and then can do some cool. So let's do that now. So we can see it here now. So it keeps on giving us that. Okay, let me just do a little styling to what we have here. So that's kind of, that will be border bottom. Okay, so we just have that should be like a 1px solid h444, and that is a padding bottom. Okay, that's let's say 5px. So basically that's it. So when you do this, and you do that, and then you put this guy. So in your own way, you put in your logic so that when you post, you clear the content of what you have in those text fields, rather. So you keep having this React, then Redux, whatever, Redux, whatever. So we keep adding like that. So that is that about Redux. So you can see we are not using any, we are using Redux to manage this place. If you see, this is a different component called article post, and this is another component called article form. So and you can see the way we have been able to pass data around. And for you to understand the essence of Redux, I'll just create one more component and I will map it together, and you see that the data is available to it. So let's just try that one. Let me just create something called another GX. Just permit me to use this word called another GX. So inside another GX now, I'm just going to sorry, let me just copy. What am I going to copy now? So let me copy what is inside this guy. Okay, so let me just copy some of these things here. Let me just copy them round up and then paste them here. So actually, I don't need these two. I just need this guy. Okay. So then for the component itself, so let me just say const another. So let me just say props. So you will see that we can access the content of what we have in our Redux store here. So let me just do console.log. Let me just say another, then another, then let me say comma props. So this will confirm the work that Redux is doing. So meaning that no matter the number of components you have, let me just do this. No matter the number of components you have, you can always pass data around, more like a global thing. Okay, so okay, no, we have not export. I'm not exported this to export. Sorry, export default. Let me just connect directly. Connecting to the source of power. That is map slash to props, and then that is another. Yeah. So I think that's just it. So you can decide to bring in anything. If you don't need this, maybe there's another thing in your store, you can also bring it here. If there's a particular method or a particular action creator you want to use, you can also bring it here too. So let's test this. Okay, so we need to take this to our app.js. So let's import and just, that is another. Then that is the another. Okay, so now here now I can always do another. Oh, that's going to be another problem. Let me just use normal. Okay, so okay, so you can see it here. Can you see? Let me expand it. Can you see it here? Can you see? It's empty. And then this is the action creator, the method. So that's it. You can see that we have it inside another. So whatever that's inside here, I can access it. So that's just how Redux work. I want to believe that you gain one or two things from this tutorial. Please support what we do by subscribing to this YouTube channel and also turn on the notification bell. And from time to time, we'll be bringing to you video tutorials on JavaScript, on React, on Node, and so on. And then by the grace of God, I'm going to see you guys in my next video. Thank you.